Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church in Columbia, South Carolina, where we're part of the ELCA. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. I remember attending a funeral in a rural section of the Shenandoah Valley in Virginia. I sat there surrounded by uneducated farmers, and one of the scriptures for the day was the 23rd Psalm. The pastor said, "It's not in your bulletin, but let's say it together." And we did. That group of rural folks spoke without hesitation as they proclaimed their faith in God as their shepherd in the midst of their grief. Of course, we did it using the old, beautiful King James Version. I've known about the person we will talk about today, but I had not remembered that he was a Lutheran, and it's not really something you expect. Today we're talking about William Tyndale, who was born in 1494 in England, and perhaps that's why I never thought of him as a Lutheran. Born about the same time as Luther himself, but in England where there just weren't many Lutherans, particularly that early on. Tyndale was well educated, but bemoaned that he was not allowed to study the Bible systematically. That kind of study simply wasn't done in those days in England. However, Tyndale was also a gifted linguist and was fluent in French, Greek, Hebrew, German, Italian, Latin, and Spanish, in addition to English. However, news of the Protestant Reformation reached England and began to stir in Tyndale's heart, and once he engaged in debate with one of his professors and said, "I defy the Pope and his laws. Why, a boy behind a plow knows more Scripture than you do." This is about when Luther's influence really took hold. One key accomplishment that Luther achieved was that he translated the Bible into common German so that everyone could read it. Tyndale liked that idea, and in 1523 sought permission to translate the Bible into English. He was roundly rejected and expelled from the country. He went to Germany and continued to study under Luther and others, and he became a Lutheran. In Germany, he actually did a translation of the New Testament into English, and copies were smuggled into England and condemned by the church. Tyndale himself was condemned as a heretic. Meanwhile, Tyndale simply got to work revising his New Testament translation and translating the Old Testament into English. Eventually, Tyndale also published a work that criticized King Henry VIII for his annulment of his marriage to Catherine of Aragon so that he could marry Anne Boleyn. This earned Henry's wrath, and Tyndale went into hiding. Tyndale was eventually betrayed and captured. He was tried on a charge of heresy in 1536 and was found guilty and condemned to death. And when they killed him, they went all out and made sure. Tyndale was strangled to death while tied at the stake, and then his dead body was burned. His final words, spoken at the stake with a fervent zeal and a loud voice, were reported as, "Lord, open the King of England's eyes." Tyndale's legacy is truly significant, however. Translating the Bible into the common language opened up the Scriptures to all people. Previously, the church claimed proprietary knowledge of the Scriptures, but now they were available to everyone. Tyndale's translation of the Bible was used for subsequent English translations, including the Great Bible and the Bishop's Bible, authorized by the Church of England. In 1611, after 7 years of work, the 47 scholars who produced the King James Version drew extensively from Tyndale's original work and other translations that descended from his. One estimate suggests that the New Testament in the King James Version is 83% Tyndale's words, and the Old Testament 76%. The King James Bible was foundational for the Revised Standard Version and then the New Revised Standard Version that we use in worship here at Redeemer today. We can be grateful to William Tyndale, who helped open up the Scriptures for us all. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.